Technical difficulties. All right, let me plug my phone in here. Let me see if I can set it up on my. Oh my goodness. This phone drives me crazy. All right. Let's see. We are up and running. All right. Yeah, for some reason, I have to reboot my phone like every single day. Otherwise, I can't go anywhere. It's kind of weird. All right, let me see here. I think we're live. Let me see what the quality looks like. Oh, pretty good. All right, so not too bad. I'm actually going to come down here to low quality. Go to live chat so I can see everybody's comments. All right, we are live in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. It's like 3:30 on a Tuesday, kind of a weird time. All right, so let's see. Trip McNeely. Lost a mouse in my house. What do I do? If you lost a mouse, if it's a pet mouse, you can actually buy those little live traps for mice. If it's like one of your feeder mice, you can do like sticky traps or something like that. What I actually do is I have the mouse poison that I put all over my house and everywhere. And even if I get a wild mouse that comes up, that poison takes care of all of them. I hardly ever get a mouse anymore. Eddie, what's up? Penny, hiya. Victoria, what's up? Brandon, how hard is it to make gray matters? So the gray matter, I believe, is the champagne super cinnamon, I believe. I haven't even thought about gray matters in years. As a matter of fact, I actually did a video on gray matters. So you can actually come over here to Morphmarket and type in gray matter, and then if you hit go and search for it, it'll actually break up the gray matter into the individual genes. That's kind of one way to verify what the genes are. And it's actually a champagne and a super cinnamon. And kind of the tricky thing with the gray matter is the champagne. Sometimes the champagne can sometimes have a little bit of a head wobble, and then sometimes the super cinnamon can actually have, some people say it can have problems with kinking. Sometimes you actually see kind of a weird face on the super cinnamons. So you actually have a combination with potential genetic defects from both the champagne and the super cinnamon. So it's kind of like a double whammy if you're actually going down the road of the gray matter. I've actually seen some people have really good success with them, but just keep in mind, it's a little bit difficult. So essentially what you'd have to do is you'd have to take champagne, breed it to a cinnamon, and get the champagne cinnamons. And then you take that and breed it back to your cinnamon to make the super cinnamon champagne. The one thing you have to watch out for, though, is you don't want to breed champagne to champagne, because that is a lethal combination. So you wouldn't want to do like champagne cinnamon crossed with the champagne cinnamon. You get some gray matters, but you'd probably get some lethal combinations with the super champagne. All right, first live I've made. What's up, Penny? Yeah, it's kind of a weird time to go live in the middle of the day. I think I'm just going to go like maybe about an hour and a half today, not too long. Probably not 3 hours like I usually do. Jesse the Boss Gaming, what's up? Don Shay Tate, what's up? AKs are fun, what's up? That's kind of a cool name. Let's see. Why has my snake not eaten in 3 weeks? Yeah, so sometimes the ball pythons, that's just part of dealing with the ball pythons. Sometimes they'll go on a fast and they won't eat for sometimes 2 or 3 months in a row, especially when they get up to like about anywhere from like 900 to about 1,200 grams. They kind of go up against the 1,000-gram wall, and a lot of times they'll go off of food. And I'd say in most cases, you just have to wait it out. And in some cases, if they don't eat for, like 2 months or something like that, what I would actually do is I would try to go with a live mouse, like an adult mouse. Usually they'll snap out of it after they eat just one live adult mouse, and they'll go right back on food. And sometimes they'll even refuse live and won't eat anything. So it's just kind of the nature of the beast. Thanks for the reply. Yes. Hey there. BR Wildlife Studio. Hi from Indiana. Wow, Indiana. Brittany, what's up? Chad W4. I recently bought a het lavender albino pair. Haven't seen any locks. What could I have done wrong? Yeah, so when it comes to locks, let me tell you, most of the times you actually won't see a lock. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Penny. I think that's the quickest super chat I've ever seen on my channel. Thank you. And that is in a different currency. I think it almost directly translates to US dollars, which is, you know, sometimes I'll get these weird currencies on here where someone will give me like 50,000 something or other, and then I'll look up the conversion rate and it'll be like $1.28 or something. So really crazy currency conversion in some of those, especially if we do like a live stream like late at night, like right around midnight. I get some really crazy currencies. Yeah, but as far as your locks, I don't even look for locks anymore. I just put the males with the females, and I don't even bother them until I go in there and separate the males and the females. The only way to really know if you have a lock for sure is to put a video camera in there with the snakes and then rewind the video, look through all the video. Most of the times they'll just lock for a little bit, and a lot of times you won't see it. Woolsey 3, how much do your racks cost? Please answer. These racks are super expensive. You can actually go over to arscaging.com. They're anywhere from, like, I'd say like for a full rack, I think it's like $2,500 to $3,000 for a rack, depending on what rack you get. You can actually go over to ARS Caging. They have, hey, got another super chat, Dakota Hutch. Thank you. Yeah, but these are kind of like the best of the best that you can get. The thing I like about these specific racks is they have a really nice finish. You know, in some of your finishes, you'll actually see like the metal in here will actually be like a stainless steel, kind of more like an industrial look. And these have like really nice powder coating on these racks, which is really nice. But yeah, I think I have about $20,000 in racks in my room here, which is kind of crazy. But keep in mind, when you buy your racks, you use them for the rest of your life. So it's like a one-time initial investment. I'd say it's kind of like, you know, setting up any business, like, you know, setting up a restaurant. You're wondering, you know, how much the grills cost and all that. It's kind of like sticker shock, how much for the tables and chairs. But, you know, once you pay that initial investment, you never really have to, unless you're expanding, then you never really have to do it again. All right, Bobby. This is Bobby, my bamboo ball python. And he's on the wrong side. He always likes to be on the other side over here. All right. Fly, Eagles, fly. What's up? Thoughts on black pastel albino to black pastel albino? Yeah, so kind of the interesting thing is when you work a dark gene into the albino, essentially what happens is you don't get a dark albino. What you'll actually get is you get an albino that has a higher amount of white on it. It really reduces the amount of color on your albinos. So it's a pretty cool combination. If you actually take the black pastel albino, breed it to another black pastel albino, what you'll actually get is you'll get the super black pastel albino, which I believe is called a cue ball. And what it looks like a completely white snake with red eyes, but with a cue ball. It's kind of interesting. You'll actually get like speckled yellow all through the snake, which is kind of interesting with the cue balls. And not a lot of them have been made. If you go over to Morphmarket and look for the super black pastel albinos, I think there's only, well, when I looked a couple years ago, there was just only a few of them over there. So it's an interesting combination there. Let's see. Cody, much love from West Virginia. What's up? Iridescent unicorn farts. That's a pretty cool name. What's up? Let's see. I lost my place. Let's see. All right, let's see. I need to thank you. When I got my first snake earlier this year, I left you a comment about understanding genes. You replied straight away. You were so helpful. Yeah, I watched loads of your videos from the UK. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to reply to comments. A lot of times I actually go over to my channel now and I just kind of skim the comments because I get so many comments. Usually what I do is I delete all the hate comments is where I spend most of my time, just kind of cleaning up all the comments over there. But sometimes I'll actually have a little time and I can reply to them. All right, Michael Gould. Let's see. Am I able to feed a female twice a week in between breeding season just to help keep the weight on? Yes. So, yeah, when you stop breeding in between this breeding season, before you start breeding again, you can definitely feed a female twice a week, depending on the size of the rodent. Usually what I do is, a lot of times I'll actually go on a really long fast right at the end of the breeding season. And what I'll do is I'll actually wait till the beginning when I start pairing up my males and my females. And that seems to stimulate the appetite of a lot of my females. And a lot of times at that point, I'll actually try to increase to 2, sometimes 3 rodents every like 7 to 10 days, I'd say. So you definitely want to keep the weight on and keep them eating at the beginning, because halfway through the breeding season, most of your females will stop eating. So you have to really try to get as much weight on as you can. Let's see. The hated movie collector. What's up? Let's see. What would you say is the best way for them to take frozen thawed every time? I've been doing live, but I've been doing rat pups and they're getting bigger. Yeah, so if you're doing rat pups, yeah, so normally you would start with like live mouse hoppers for the first few meals. And usually after about, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 live mouse hoppers, then you can move to something else. Usually what I do is I'll switch over to like a frozen thawed mouse, and then I'll switch to a frozen thawed rat. But if you're actually doing live rat pups, you could probably switch over to like a frozen thawed rat pup right away and try it that way. If you do too many live, if you actually have a hatchling and you do live for like a whole year, you get to the point where all they will take is live, then they won't take the frozen thawed. So you definitely want to sneak in some frozen thawed. I'd say usually I'd say preferably you'd want to stick with rats that are frozen thawed on a long-term basis for any ball python. Penny's from England. Wow, what's up? Yeah, that's kind of the advantage of doing a live stream at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I kind of catch people on different time zones all around the world, versus always doing the live stream at the same time. Let's see. K-Town Balls, what's up? Luis Gonzalez, my female is locked at least 4 times. When do I expect her to pre-lay shed? Yeah, so usually I would say normally I'll pair up my females for about 5 months, and then I'd say it's usually about 5 or 6 months after you start pairing that you'd actually expect a pre-lay shed. Then usually after the pre-lay shed, it's like 30 days until they lay eggs. And usually at that point, the female will be really super big. And if you have an ultrasound, you can look inside and you can see that the eggs will be really big during a pre-lay shed. K-Town Balls in Kokomo, what's up? Most baited fishing, what's up? how normal is it for my snake to take the rat, but in the end not eat it, and why? Good question. So, as a matter of fact, just this last feeding, it's pretty rare that a snake will actually take a rat and then won't eat it. I had one this week where they actually took the rat. It was a frozen thawed rat. And what actually happened is they were getting some bedding in their mouth with the rat at the same time. And I actually checked on the snake just a few hours later, and in there was the rat. The whole head was all like slimy, like it tried to eat it, but spit it out, and all around it was the bedding. So I'm thinking sometimes the bedding can get in the way. Sometimes I would say if you're feeding frozen thawed, it might not be to the right temperature. Sometimes they'll grab it and then they'll realize that it's not completely warm like they like it. So you want to make sure it's warm all the way through the rodent. Sometimes, especially if you're feeding live, what'll actually happen is they'll actually they'll kill the rat, and then what they'll do is they'll kind of ignore it for like 5 or 10 minutes, and you think they're not going to eat it, but eventually they do eat it. So if you're feeding live, I would probably do at least a half an hour after they grab that rat before you pull that rat out. Sometimes you're just taking it too early from the snake. I prefer not to do live if at all possible. Live is kind of my last resort. I like to do all frozen thawed. All right, Ashley wanted to say hi to me and Bobby. Yes, this is Bobby. We are both doing well. Yes. Let's see. Matthew, is putting 2 males with 1 girl at the same time a thing? Yeah, I would not put 2 males with 1 female at the same time. If you're doing that, I would actually rotate out the males with the female. I've seen people do that. I've seen people where they'll take like a really stubborn male and they'll try to get it to breed. And in order to kind of stimulate that male to breed, what they'll do is they'll take a male, put it with a female, and then they'll take another male and put it in there. And sometimes the males can kind of fight over the female. And then you take the problem male out of there and put it with the snake that you want to breed with it. And usually it's a supervision thing where you just kind of put it in there and kind of watch them for a couple minutes until they start sparring a little bit. And then sometimes you'll get the snake that's kind of stubborn to breed another female. But I don't know, if you kept them in full time, 2 males and a female, I would say you'd probably have some fighting between those males. Probably not a good thing. I've never heard of it. Let's see. Dragon House makes a similar rack that are cheaper, not Freedom Breeder quality, but still nice. Yeah, so yeah, if you actually look at these racks behind me, they are really super expensive. And I actually sat down, I was thinking, all right, if I bought all the steel and I welded it out myself, and I bought the tubs and I actually made this rack, I don't know if I could actually make the rack, from the raw materials cheaper or even the same price as ARS caging. So they must buy everything in bulk. And I think they have pretty slim margins on a lot of these racks, even though they're really expensive. Come to the Wichita, Kansas Reptile Expo this weekend. Yeah, it's actually an 8-hour drive, so that's like 16 hours on the road. Yeah, I actually looked that up. That was a little bit too far for me to drive this weekend. But yeah, so I have a lot of animals that I have to feed every single day, so I really can't get away for an extended period of time. I can get away for, if I leave like at 3 in the afternoon, as long as I get back the next day about, like noon or so, in order to feed all the animals here at my farm. But as far as getting away for that long, I really can't do it with my current setup. Maybe someday if I could hire someone to take care of all my animals. Let's see. How long after my snakes eat can we hold them? Yes. I would say I would probably wait at least 2 days. So kind of the weird thing is, for a while I was doing videos every single day with Bobby, and Bobby would be, at the beginning of every video pretty much on my channel, and I would feed him the day before. I would usually wait at least 24 hours to hold him. And then when I held him, I would just put him on my neck like this, and I would try not to make him move at all. I would just kind of set him on my neck, do the intro to the video, and then, gently put him back in the tub. But as far as, taking them out and playing with them where they're like, crawling all over the place, I would wait at least 2 days, probably preferably 3, just because of the risk of regurgitation of your snake. Unusual pets, what's up? All right, Bobby. He's choking me. All right. He's waking up. He's trying to get away. Yeah, 48 hours. I would say, yeah, 24 hours minimum, I would say. Brittany, what's up? My pastel vanilla fire has an abrasion on her side that is progressively getting worse. And we just bought her a week ago. That's weird. There's nothing abrasive in her toe. What do you think it is? So if I have a snake with an abrasion or a cut or a wound or something like that, what I'll actually do is I'll kind of give them a quick soak in an iodine solution. So you can actually use the povidone iodine that you can get like at a feed store or something like that. And you make like a weak tea, kind of like a weak to a strong tea solution of it. And I'd say, put them in there with like 80, 85 degree water, maybe 90 degree water maximum. And just give them a little soak in that for maybe just a couple minutes, just a minute or two. And I do that every day. And a lot of times that's pretty much the treatment for a lot of the farm animals that I have that the vets would recommend, the povidone iodine that's diluted in water. I would actually try that. Let's see. David, hi Chris. How often shall ball pythons eat? Yeah, so it really depends on the age of the snake. I would say normally I offer my ball pythons food at least once a week. As a matter of fact, with my hatchlings this year, it seemed like my hatchlings, I usually feed them a lot more because I have fewer hatchlings, I have more rodents. And this year I actually went down to just once a week on my hatchlings. And it seems like feeding hatchlings once a week is kind of like a maintenance diet for hatchlings. I would probably do, for hatchlings, I would probably do every 4 or 5 days when they're really young until they reach a certain size where they can take a decent sized rodent, maybe, several hundred grams. But I was actually surprised how slow my hatchlings grow just feeding them once a week. It's pretty amazing. And then once a ball python gets big, like Bobby, yeah, I usually offer once a week. And if he doesn't eat for like 2 or 3 weeks, you can't even notice. It doesn't even he doesn't even lose weight or anything. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, I'd say, with an adult ball python, if they go for more than a month and a half or 2 months, then you want to, try something to figure out, switch foods or try alive or something like that. All right, the bird dude. All right, catching this live. Ready for some ball python talk? Yes, ball python talk here. Let's see. What do you think of ceramic heat emitters for heating? Is it safe? Yeah, so I've actually used some ceramic heat emitters. It's actually like a heat lamp, but it doesn't have any light that comes out of it. One thing you want to watch for that is that they don't get too hot so you don't overheat your ball python. I've actually seen some thermostat controllers that have a dimming function on. As a matter of fact, we actually used one back when we had the red-eyed green tree frog. We used a heat controller with a a dimming, it was actually on a light bulb, and it would actually automatically dim, and you just put the heat probe right under the light bulb, and it would keep the temperature pretty constant. That's probably what I would do. Another thing you can do is kind of adjust it really high above the tank, so the maximum temperature underneath doesn't get close to the maximum for a Ball Python. So I'd say, you know, like a 90-degree hotspot, you don't want to go any above 90 as far as that. But yeah, I really prefer under tank heat versus a light from above, just because you can control it a little better. All right, William, I want to start breeding. I have a male pied and a male cinnamon het albino, a female albino, female Mojave spider het ghost, female DJI pinstripe, and a female Enchi. Any ideas on matchup? Yes, so just starting out. So that's kind of the interesting thing, is when you first start breeding ball pythons, you get all these snakes and you're like, all right, what am I going to breed, you know, as far as mixing stuff together. And then kind of the weird thing is when you kind of go further down the road, say you've been breeding for like 2 or 3 years, you look at all the different snakes that you've already paired, and you're trying to figure out, all right, what haven't I paired yet? Which is, you know, eventually you'll pair all the snakes with all the other snakes just because you haven't paired them before, then you want to try something a little bit different. And then you'll get to the point, kind of like where I am, where you look kind of through your collection, and you're like, well, I've bred pretty much everything to everything else, and I've made all these really cool combos. Now, what you really need at that point is you need to start buying into some other projects and bringing it into your collection. So you kind of go through different phases, depending if you're just starting out, or if you're kind of in the middle, or if you're kind of at the end of it, you've already bred everything together. So I'd say at the beginning, it doesn't really matter what you breed to what. Kind of the interesting thing is if you have like pieds and albinos and desert ghosts, sometimes it's kind of neat to kind of breed those to just random snakes through your collection to see if maybe you have some hets kind of floating around in your collection. And I actually did that, where I bred my visual desert ghost to just a random snake. Turned out I actually got a visual desert ghost. Now every single year I breed them together, shooting for more visual desert ghosts, which is pretty cool. All right, Phil, how many grams is Bobby? Last time I weighed him, I think he was 3,800 grams. I don't know, he's like 8 years old now. So he's pretty big for a male. He's probably one of the biggest males I've ever seen. I'd say anywhere between 38 and 4,000 grams, probably. All right, Frilled Neck Dragon UK, what's up? My mahogany always strikes and obliterates her food in a way none other than just leaves it there and doesn't eat. So yeah, so I would probably just give it more time. Another thing that could be happening is maybe it's not real friendly with people. Sometimes I find usually if a ball python is like live only, it has a lot of it's maybe frightened of people, and you're trying to feed it a frozen thawed, and it just will not take a frozen thawed. So then you have to go to live, and the reason it eats the live is because it's really focused on the live versus being focused on the person that's trying to feed a frozen thawed. So what might be happening is if you're feeding it alive, it's getting the live, and then after, you know, especially if you're still in the room, or if you're looking at it, or if the snake can actually see you, it may get distracted, maybe get a little scared and defensive at the person versus eating the rodent. So what I would do is I'd actually feed that snake and then walk out of the room, maybe come back like a half hour later to try to solve that problem. Can I see the biggest snake you have? The biggest snake, that is Lucy. I don't know if I could pull Lucy out. She is probably close to 90 to 100 pounds, and she's 17 feet long. Yeah, if I pulled out Lucy, it may take me the rest of the live stream to get her back in her enclosure. Yeah, she is a really big snake. All right, Kingdom Pythons EDU, what's up? William, I watch a lot of your videos and I love it. Yes, thank you. Fingenuity, that's a cool name. Hey Chris, everybody else, wish me luck on my very first breeding. Nice. The first time is always the most exciting. Let's see. Reese Mooney. We are having a hard time getting our males to lock with our females. My friend is having no problem and is keeping them in nearly the same conditions. Yeah, so sometimes I'd say most times you're not going to see a lock between your males and your females, and then your females will all lay eggs anyway. So I'd say most of the times the lock is really quick. Sometimes it'll be like in the middle of the night, and they'll just lock up for like, half hour, 45 minutes or something like that. So I just keep cycling your males through your females. I don't even worry about locks anymore. I don't even look in the tub, and have pretty good luck. Another thing you can try, if you have one that's kind of a stubborn breeder, like I have one male that last year, everything I bred it to, none of the females actually laid eggs. So what I'm going to do this year, I'm breeding that one through my collection, but I'm going to follow up with kind of like a cleanup male at the very end to clean up and make sure all those females are bred from one male or the other, just so I actually breed my females. All right, K Sykes TV, what's up? I have a super pastel male and an albino black pastel female. What morph will they produce? Yes. So a super pastel, you breed that to something, you'll get all pastels. And then if you have an albino, keep in mind the albino is recessive, so everything will be heteroalbino. And as far as I know, I don't think you can tell that anything's heteroalbino other than from the pairing. There's no markers or anything for het albino. And then you have black pastel, so you would get a whole bunch of stuff. You would get pastel, black pastel. Which is a black pewter. You get a black pewter, which is pretty cool, which is the pastel, black pastel. So you would get black pewter het albinos, which would be pretty cool. Unusual pets, my comment disappeared. Yeah, no funny stuff in the comments. I actually think I have some moderators from YouTube that actually get on here, and I think they delete comments. I don't know if it's the algorithm or if there's actually people kind of behind the scenes deleting comments. But I see a lot of comments that just pop up, and then almost immediately they pretty much immediately disappear before I can even see them, which is pretty wild. Sometimes they'll pop up for a few seconds and then they'll just be gone. So I don't know what's going on there. Let's see, Jessica. I have a baby that is over 1 month and won't eat anything I give him. Live mouse hoppers, rat fuzzies, frozen thawed live. So the question is on that one, has that snake eaten anything at all? So if it's eaten, usually you start on live mouse hoppers, but if it's never eaten a live mouse hopper ever, and it hasn't had a single meal ever, sometimes you'll actually have to assist feed that one. We actually take like a frozen thawed and you put it right in the mouth of the snake. I'd say it's kind of a last resort. Sometimes it can be kind of risky. I've actually seen where you can asphyxiate a snake by assist feeding like that. What I would probably try, I would take a live mouse hopper, put it in the tub with that snake and close it up for about 24 hours. And from what I've seen, I've actually done it quite a few times. And a live mouse hopper can't hurt a hatchling ball python. It's just too small. And I'd say 99% of the time, if you actually leave the live mouse hopper with a hatchling for like 12 or 24 hours, it'll almost always eat it. That's kind of a trick. Instead of just kind of putting it in, waiting for like an hour or half an hour, and then taking it out. Let's see. I've noticed even my hatchling females seem to want to eat more now. I haven't really noticed that my females. Yeah, I would say yeah. So yeah, your hatchlings and females want to eat more now. So yeah, especially this time of the year, it seems like kind of worldwide, all the ball pythons they kind of go into the breeding mode. For some reason, I think they can tell what season it is, and especially here, you know, in the United States, it seems like everybody's snakes. You know, they're pairing them up, and they're even the ones that I'm not pairing up, my hatchlings and everything. It seems like they all want to eat right now at the beginning of the breeding season, which is kind of interesting. We're kind of at well, most people pair up like October, November, so it's you know, it's like right at the beginning, right in the middle of the prime of the breeding season, where all the snakes want to eat. And it seems like even my holdbacks all want to eat now, which is kind of wild. All right, Joel 3380, what's up? Just had a bamboo calico clutch. Nice. Yeah, kind of the interesting thing with the bamboo calicos is a lot of times they'll start with it'll almost look like a well, my particular version of calico is like a darker calico, so it almost looked like a darker bamboo with hardly any white on the side. And then as they age and mature, that calico really brightens up, really changes in the bamboo calicos as they age and mature. Let's see. Enigma Tie Chart 666. What's up? Hey, Chris, no question, but finally got my boy over 800 grams. Nice. Let's see. How many grams is Bobby? He's about 3,800 grams. Let's see. What pythons do you have for sale? Anything with pied? Yes. I actually just posted a bunch of new snakes over on Morphmarket the day before yesterday. I do have one female pied, just a straight pied over there. One person was interested, but they never wrote back. I don't think they're going to get it. So I do have some interesting snakes over on Morphmarket. 10:46 p.m. Wow, yeah, it's like 4 o'clock here. Yeah. What's my favorite ball python morph? The bamboo, of course. I love just a single straight gene bamboo like Bobby's. Probably my favorite morph. Unusual Pets is in the UK. Yes, I think I've seen some of you guys on a tarantula live stream, maybe over. Sometimes I'll catch that in the UK. Country Girls, what's up? From Arkansas. Watch you all the time. Seen the video last night about putting 2 ball pythons together. Please tell me it's okay to keep my female pied with my regular male het. Yeah, so as far as keeping 2 snakes together in the same enclosure full time, I wouldn't do it. Mostly because most of the times they'll actually go into like a breeding mode, and when they get into like deep into a breeding mode, a lot of times they'll go off of food. I think if you separated them for most of the year and then just paired them occasionally during the breeding season, I think it would be a lot easier to actually feed those ball pythons. And that's kind of the biggest concern, I think, about keeping 2 together. Although I have seen some people keep 2 together full time. I have seen some people keep multiple ball pythons together all the time, and it seems like they're all really skinny. You know, like it's kind of hard to manage the food intake on some of those. for only 3 days. Let's see. Let's see. Ben Harris. I'm in Cumbria. Never heard of that. Cumbria. Where is Cumbria? Wow, it's actually in the UK. Wow. Okay. Huh. What do you know? So it looks like it's a date with Chris. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna go for maybe another 45 minutes here. Let's see. So when you go, let's see. This is Dapper Don 1K. What's up? So when you go to Repticon, do all breeders feed their ball pythons frozen or live? Yeah, it really depends on the breeder. So what I like to do is, especially the hatchlings that I'm selling, I absolutely like to get them on frozen thawed. I've actually bought some hatchlings and some kind of juvenile ball pythons that were live only. And the problem is you get those snakes and they won't eat frozen thawed, and you're pretty much stuck with live on some of those. So if you get them over to frozen thawed just for your customers, I think it's a better thing. Even if you have breeders that, say, for example, you have breeders and you think you're going to keep them for the rest of your life, sometimes things change and you have all these new projects and new things coming in. Maybe, you free up some money, you want to get rid of some stuff. The problem is if you have snakes that have been eating like weird kind of like, live hamsters or something. I've actually seen people do like live hamsters. It's like, how many people could actually, find food to feed their ball pythons, especially if they get stuck on something weird like that. Like they can actually get stuck on chickens, baby chickens. I've seen some people do that. So you always want to be thinking of, the resale of any of your snakes. If you can get them over on frozen thawed rats, it's always best for the resale for anything. All right, different. What's up? Could you do these live events in a proper Europe time once? I have to sleep now. Yeah, so that would be like what, early in the morning? Usually I'm sleeping in pretty late, and then I have to feed all my animals. So pretty much the earliest I could do it is maybe 1 p.m., maybe a couple hours earlier. Yeah, it's kind of interesting if I do live streams. I did some at midnight, and a lot of people, if I do them at midnight, people are like, I'm just waking up on the other side of the planet, which is kind of weird. Let's see. I don't have enough room for her, and she's being delivered tomorrow. They used her tank for 3 guinea pigs. Yeah, so I actually had that happen where someone had a bunch of snakes that I actually bought as a kind of a package deal, and I had ordered a rack, but I didn't have it in yet. So what I actually did is I went to Home Depot, one of the local hardware stores here, and you can actually get the plastic totes. And then you can just take like a soldering iron and melt the holes in the side of the tote so they have ventilation, and then just put down some coconut husk, and you could do it that way. And as a matter of fact, when I first did that, I just kind of held ball pythons for, I think it was like 3 or 4 days. And I didn't even use any heat mats. I didn't feed them. I did give them some water though. And I just kind of had them temporarily in holding here in my reptile room. It's like 80, 81 degrees. So it was kind of good enough just to get them by until I could get them into those racks. But that's always a kind of a way you could do it with the totes. All right, royalty morphs. The only time ball pythons should be housed together to breed and for a few days at a time. Yes, I agree. Best way to treat RI if antibiotics aren't working. I would probably see a veterinarian for a respiratory infection. If antibiotics aren't working, I would get different antibiotics from the veterinarian. So antibiotics are really specific towards the type of bacteria. And if they're not working, that means you're not using the right antibiotic and you have to try a different one. Let's see how far I am behind here. I'm like way far behind. The last live stream, I like had to skip like 150 questions. I was like so far behind. This one, I'm like, what? Let's see. I'm like 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm already like 50 questions behind. All right, let's see. Gyarados openings. What's up? Would you get into Orange Ghost? Yes, I may get into Orange Ghost at some point. It's pretty cool. I have a leopard, double hat, clown, Orange Ghost. I know I'm going to use him to make some clowns, but I'm not completely sure it'd be worth my time to grow up a female. Yes, if I was going to get into Ghost, I would definitely get into Orange Ghost, kind of the orange version of the Ghost. Keep in mind the Ghost is recessive, and you need 2 copies of the gene to get a visual. And the Ghost, essentially what it does is it kind of washes out your snake, gives it kind of like a ghost-like appearance. And my favorite Ghost is if you actually take the Ghost and work in dark genes, like a blackhead or a GHI, you can end up with like a steel gray looking snake, especially if you worked other genes in there. So you could do like a orange ghost, blackhead clown, which would give you kind of like a steel gray looking clown, which would be kind of an interesting combination. What's the best Ball Python morph that I've made? I would say maybe, let's see. I actually have, I think one of my favorites is right over here. Let me show you this one. This one's pretty cool. Pastel pinstripe calico. No, this is where is it? Where is it? This one. All right, so this is one of my favorites. This is actually Bobby's granddaughter. I think I show this on every live. It's one of my favorite snakes. See if I got my light back right here. Oh, so this is actually Lemon Blast pastel pinstripe with the bamboo and the calico. Possible het desert ghost. Look at that. Look at how high the white comes up on that. And kind of the interesting thing is when I hatched this out, it was like completely white. And then when it started getting color, it actually looked kind of the same color as Bobby. And if you actually take a look at them kind of side by side, you'll see that the pastel with the bamboo starts out almost looking exactly like the color of the bamboo. And as it ages and matures, sometimes you have to let it wait for like a month or so, and then it turns like this really bright yellow. Look at the difference between those two, which is pretty amazing. When I first hatched pastel bamboos, I couldn't tell them from the regular bamboos, and then as they age and mature, they really brighten up really good, which is pretty cool. So that is one of my holdbacks. Her name is Ozzy. Pastel pinstripe, bamboo, calico, possible het desert ghost. So I definitely love the bamboo combinations. All right, Papa Ski, what's up? If I have a 40-gallon tank for my Ball Python, would I need an overhead light with my heating pad? No, I would say I actually prefer not to have an overhead heat source, just because a lot of times it can really dry out the enclosure, and a lot of times you get, shed problems from those overhead heat sources. So I would probably just do an under tank. It really depends on your ambient temperature too. So if your house is like down in the 60s, you may have to figure something out. But if it's like mid 70s or higher than that, I think you're fine for an ambient temperature. Sometimes I've actually seen people, what they'll do, if they have a really cold house, sometimes what they'll do is they'll put their ball pythons in like a walk-in closet, and then they'll have like a space heater on a thermostat to kind of increase the ambient temperature in a smaller space, so they don't really have to warm the whole house as far as the ambient. Let's see. KI, the Philippines loves Bobby. Underwater bubble farter. Some of these names, I couldn't even make those up. Let's see. Don't get a snake if you don't have an extra enclosure. Yes. Sometimes it really depends on the timing too. So sometimes, you ordered a rack and the rack is coming, and then you get a really good deal. You can put it in the rack, and sometimes you kind of have to make do with what you have before you can get the rack. Let's see. Chris Calviti, got my first ball python 9 months ago after following you. Now I'm up to 5. I actually have, if you go over to my merchandise over on Teespring, I actually have a t-shirt that says snakes are like potato chips. You can't only have one, or something like that. I haven't really been pushing my merchandise at all, but I think I bought more of my own merchandise than other people have. I have one that says my snake is bigger than your snake, which is one of my favorite sweatshirts. Let's see. Do you like rosy boas? I'm pretty much just a ball python guy. I really don't know much about any other snake. I've had some king snakes. I never had a rosy boa. I've known a lot of people that really like rosy boas, but I've never had one. I don't think I've ever had any boa, as a matter of fact. What is Bobby doing? All right, Bobby. Getting a little frisky. All right, 4:24, another 35 minutes. We've been going for 52. We have 76 people on the live, 31 thumbs up. All right. All right, Bree Taylor. Have any breeding tips for breeding? I'm planning on starting breeding with my Super Fire. That's a pretty nice snake. It's one thing that I've never produced. Matter of fact, I was thinking I probably should have held back I actually produced some Firehead Pies. I probably should have held them back and went for some Super Fires. It's like a black-eyed leucistic, and sometimes they'll have like spots of yellow. Just a little bit of like yellow spots on top of a white snake with black eyes. Super Fires are pretty cool. What I would actually do is you could take a Super Fire, breed it to a Super Fire, and make a whole bunch of, all white, Super Fires, which would be a good way to go. Another thing you could do, you could breed it to something like a Super Pastel, and you can actually make some fireflies. You'd have a whole clutch of fireflies, which would be pretty cool. Especially if you added other like color enhancing genes, like you can get like a super pastel. You could do like a Super Pastel, Orange Dream, Yellow Belly, some of those brightening genes, and mix it with a fire on top of all those. You get like a whole clutch of all these crazy firefly combinations, which would be pretty cool. I'd probably go with a lot of go after some of the bright combinations with that one. Let's see. I would highly suggest getting a clear tote. Yes. I actually prefer the dark totes. I think it gives the snake a little bit more security, and it acts like the whole tub acts kind of like a hide. Some people prefer the clear totes. I'd say, and a lot of times with the clear totes, you have to actually add a hide to the clear totes. Let's see. All right, right, SJ Exotics. Are you working with the hurricane gene? No hurricanes in my collection. Probably thinking about maybe doing like an acid static or confusion. Probably the next project that I'm going to get into. Not exactly sure if I'm going to buy another snake soon or not. I kind of like an isolated collection. I really am hesitant about bringing anything new in my collection just because I'm really terrified of like mites or anything like that. If I actually bought a new snake, it'd probably be after I sold all my hatchlings, so I wouldn't have so many snakes here at risk bringing something new into my collection. Raphael Sandoval, what's up? Marmar Zelani, what's up? Hi, Chris. My name is Marina. Do you have a day job or do you breed full time? And if so, how long did it take you to go full time? So, yes, I quit my day job. Oh, I don't know how long it's been, year and a half, maybe. So yeah, most of my money I make from YouTube. I actually have 3 YouTube channels now. I actually have the snake channel, which is just my name, Chris Hardwick, and then I have another channel called My Motorcycle Obsession, where I ride and review motorcycles, the brand new motorcycles coming out, and then I have another channel that I just started called the Hardwick Homestead. Just past 1,000 subscribers on that one too. Working to get that one monetized. I need a few more watch hours on that one. And I'm doing like all my chickens and ducks kind of split it out on my homestead channel. I also sell snakes. I do Patreon. I sell duck eggs in the spring and chicken eggs. So I have a lot of different streams of income. Sell some dubia roaches. I have a lot of stuff going on. I'd say probably number one mostly is the ad revenue from YouTube. Number 2 is probably the ball pythons that I sell through the year. But yeah, let me tell you, it's definitely hard to go from a day job jumping into your own business because something like this, some months you can do really well and make a lot of money, and then other months you're just like scraping the bottom trying to get by. So it's really up and down. There's been quite a few months where I'm like, I should just go back to my day job because I'm not really making it. And then, you have another good month and you're like, oh, I can make it a few more months. So it's really up and down as far as the finances trying to break out. But yeah, it could definitely be challenging. Let's see. Hey, Chad. Yeah, it's interesting. Some people call me Chad because my name's actually Chris. I don't know where they got the Chad from, but a lot of people do call me Chad. Do you have any pastel pieds for sale? I just have one female pied over on Morphmarket, just the one hatchling. Decided to put it up for sale because I have a lot of holdbacks. Moon over Miami, what's up? I'm like so far behind on these questions. I'm going to catch up eventually. I'm going to go for like another half hour. It's like 4:30 p.m. here. I'll go to 5. Let's see. Hey, Chris and Chad. I have a few ball pythons in the future. I would like to try my hand at breeding and selling. When filing for a trademark, is it best to use a lawyer or just a trademark website? Yeah, so I've never done a trademark. I've never really branded anything like an official trademark or anything. Let's see. Trey Barker, what's up? Have you ever had any snakes try to eat each other while breeding? So the interesting thing about ball pythons is ball pythons won't actually eat another snake. So you really don't have to worry about it. There are some snakes, like king snakes, that kind of have a tendency to eat other snakes, especially if you put 2 together that are real different sizes. Sometimes you have to watch that. And some snakes, like king cobras, actually eat snakes as part of their diet, as most of their diet. So I don't even know how you breed king cobras without them eating each other. But yeah, so you don't really have to worry about that with ball pythons. All right, Jacob. Me and my buddy just started our snake breeding business a couple months ago. We have 14 snakes. Wow, that's a lot of snakes. Mostly ball pythons and 2 corns. Yes. Any tips? Just starting out. Yeah, so that's kind of what I did is I started buying snake after snake after snake. And when you first start buying snakes, you don't really think about quarantining because especially if you buy a lot of snakes all at the beginning, all at the same time, there's no way you can really quarantine. But let me tell you, once you get up to 14 snakes, if you bring in some mites or something like that, you can definitely run into problems. So at this point, with 14 snakes, I would definitely set up kind of a quarantine system, maybe on a different level of your house, maybe preferably in like a completely different house. Maybe quarantine them at one of your friend's house for like a month. Make sure they don't have mites before you actually bring them into your collection. Because let me tell you, if you get mites, you'll be wishing that you quarantine. That's for sure. All right. Hoplock, what's up? Do you have the heat higher on your heat mat? The tub is slightly above the mat. Yeah, what I do is I set all my I put my temperature probe right on the heat strip, right under the tub, and I just set it at 90 degrees. The tubs just slide right on top of that heat mat, so it's not that much difference. And what I do back on the hot spot is I clean away all the substrate from the tub, so they're sitting directly on the plastic over the hot spot, and they get all the heat. So I've never really tried to dial in the temperatures as far as to increase it. To try to get the tub exactly at 90, I just set everything to 90 degrees. And it seems like it's working. Is there any way to tell if your snakes are about to poop so you don't get accidentally pooped on? I don't think there is. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was going through my hatchlings, posting them over on Morphmarket, and I was probing them, trying to figure out the males and the females, and a couple of them just peed and went to the bathroom all over the place, just like spewing out all over the floor. And I could not tell that they were going to do it. So I think it's just kind of random and you can't predict it. All right, Matt C. What's up? What would you say is the absolute minimum weight and age you can breed a male? I have one male for one specific female, and I don't think he'll hit the 500 gram mark. So yes, depends on the project. So if you have just 2 snakes and you think the male's not quite at 500 grams, the lightest I ever bred a male was 400 grams, and it was back when I actually first got into the scaleless head project. And scaleless head, just a straight scaleless head male with no other genes, they were selling for like $1,200 before the market crashed on the scaleless heads. And I was breeding that thing as much as I could the first year. He's only 400 grams. And I bred him to, I think, maybe 6 females or something like that. And I think 3 or 4 of them actually laid eggs at 400 grams. And keep in mind, that was 400 grams at the beginning of the season. So keep in mind, they continually eat over the next, 5 months when you're cycling the males through the females. So at the end of the season, he was definitely over 500 grams. So you have to think about that too. But I would say in most cases, if you want 100% sure that your male's actually going to breed, I would wait until it's at least 2 years old on your males. And by 2 years old, they'll definitely be over 500 grams. Let's see. SD Luke 98. What's up? Is there any difference or benefits to feeding a breeding female larger meals or slightly less often smaller meals? as a matter of fact, I actually saw someone did there's actually a YouTube video. I can't remember who was doing it, but they had two hatchlings from the same clutch, and they're actually feeding one of them multiple smaller meals, and they were feeding another one pretty much the same equivalent but larger meals side by side. So they're eating the same amount. One was eating larger meals, one was eating multiple smaller meals. And I don't know how exact of a, they actually, dialed in the weight to make sure the weights were the same, but the one with the bigger meal actually grew twice as fast as the one eating more often with the smaller meals. Of course, it wasn't really a controlled study, so I'm not sure how accurate it was. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it seemed like from that one video that it's possible that if you feed bigger meals, your snakes can actually gain weight faster and get bigger, which is pretty interesting. SJ Exotics, are there any other UK reptile lovers watching this? Let's see. Yeah, so these lives are kind of interesting. All right, Conrad Macaroni, what's up? Hey, Chris, love your videos. I was handling my female ball a few days ago. She must have drank right before because she regurgitated some water. Yes, I've had that happen before. Had that happen once with my reticulated python. It kind of freaked me out. I was actually feeding Lucy a rat. She grabbed the rat and she just like spewed out all this water all over the rat when she first grabbed it. And the only thing that I could think of was she was actually drinking water right before she grabbed that rat, which kind of freaked me out. So it doesn't really hurt anything. That's just one thing to keep in mind, that sometimes it can actually happen. Mama Dragon 24, what's up? Will Bobby have any kids, grandkids available this season? So all my bamboos went super fast this year. They're pretty much the first ones that actually sold. I don't have anything with bamboo as far as my hatchlings that I'm going to sell. I just have that one pastel pinstripe, bamboo, calico, possible het desert ghost that I'm going to hold back. That's the only one I have left with the bamboo in it. Let's see. Whoa, lost my place. All right, Darren. I've been watching your channel for a while. Your patter is quality. I would like to think you're teaching me a thing or two. I have 8 snakes. Nice. Yes. Hopefully you're learning something from this. Steven Zlaktovic, what's up? How much does it cost a normal morph, small size? Yeah, so if you're wondering how much a normal ball python costs, I would say anywhere from $20 usually to about $100. It depends when you're buying. I've actually seen normals at some of the pet shops go for like 120 or 150, which is kind of crazy. I've seen some at reptile shows go for about $20 US dollars. It really just depends on, who's selling it and what's available. Usually at the reptile shows, everyone's competing against everybody else especially on the normals. And that really drives the prices down. A lot of times, you can find some. Although I've actually been to reptile shows where everyone's selling like $20 normals and they all sell out within the first hour, and then everyone's buying the $50 normals, and then pretty soon everyone's paying $80, $100, for like the last normals, and then pretty much the cheapest ball python pet that you can get, because a lot of people don't want to breed ball pythons, they just want a pet, and the cheapest one for the kids is the normal ball python. So a lot of people are just looking for whatever the cheapest one is on the table. And they're not really looking at, is this, $20 or $50? They just want the cheapest one for their kids. All right, Quentin Kane, what's up? What would you breed with a female bamboo puma? Wow, a puma. Good. I don't think I've ever seen a bamboo puma. So keep in mind the puma. The puma is actually in the yellow belly complex. It's actually a spark and a yellow belly. So it's similar to kind of like your highways and your freeways and your super stripes. It's kind of interesting with the spark because I haven't really seen a lot of stuff that the spark really changes that much, except the puma, which is kind of interesting. But one thing you could do with that, bamboo puma, you could probably breed it to like a highway or a freeway and get some. You can get some pumas. I don't know if you actually got like an asphalt spark. That'd be kind of an interesting combination, an asphalt spark. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. I don't even know what you'd call an asphalt spark. I think if you get an asphalt gravel, I think they call that the pavement. But yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing going down the yellow belly route. All right, is ambient temps okay at 77 or 78? Yes, ambient at that temperature is fine. Let's see, Bree Taylor, what's up? My other comment disappeared, but I was asking what morph would go best with my black-eyed leucistic superfire? Yes. I think I answered that. So superfire, you can breed with another superfire to make a bunch of white snakes, which would be pretty cool. You could breed it with like a super pastel to make a bunch of fireflies and other brightening genes in there. Does your female spider's tubs smell different? No, I haven't noticed. I have one spider in my collection. It's actually a pastel spider desert ghost, a really beautiful female. I haven't noticed that she smells any different than the rest of them. All right, let's see. We are at 4:44. So we'll go another 15 minutes. We still have 70 people on, which is kind of crazy. 49 thumbs up. Oh, let's see. Let's see how far behind I am in these comments. Wow. I'm pretty far behind. Not too far behind. All right. All right, Damien, tips for new ball python owners. Yes. So if you're a new ball python owner, I would definitely, do some research on husbandry. If you're a breeder, if you're looking to breed your ball pythons, then I would definitely research like all the different genes. I pretty much made a video about almost every single gene, single gene, most of the more common 2-gene combos, a lot of the more common topics in ball python. So you can actually go over to my YouTube channel. You can, kind of watch all the videos that you're interested in over there. But yeah, I definitely, especially for new ball python owner, if you're not looking for breeding, I would look into, the correct husbandry to get the temperature and the humidity right. And then keep in mind, a lot of times ball pythons can be kind of picky as far as feeding. And a lot of new owners are kind of freak out if your snake doesn't eat for like 3 or 4 weeks. And it's pretty normal, especially for a big snake like Bobby here. He can easily go like 4 weeks without a meal without any problem at all. So that's kind of the one thing that freaks a lot of the new people out. All right, Sean Brooks, what's up? What do you think about the Ultramel project? Do you have any black pewter? So I don't have black pewter in my collection. That is the black pastel, and the pastel is the black pewter. I don't have any black pastel in my collection. I do have pastels though. The Ultramel is a pretty cool project. I almost got into the Ultramel early on, but I didn't. Kind of the interesting thing about Ultramel is I was actually thinking about doing this video. I haven't really put it together yet, but I was doing some research on where they actually look at the sheds from ball pythons to determine what genes are in the ball pythons. They've actually made some progress on looking at the sheds and doing PCR on the DNA and amplifying the DNA to actually look at the genes. And they've actually done Ultramel and Caramel Albino. And what they've actually found is some people with Ultramels, come to find out it's not an Ultramel, it's actually a Caramel Albino. Some people with Caramel Albinos actually have Ultramels. And they wouldn't have known that unless they did the genetic sequencing of the DNA from the snakes, the shed from the snake with this new technique. So it's kind of interesting, kind of unraveling the genetics, looking at the sheds from the snakes. But yeah, Ultramel, it's a recessive. It's a pretty cool. The Ultramel kind of looks like a banana, except it's recessive instead of codominant. And of course, it doesn't develop the spots like the banana does. All right, Bobby. Whoa. All right, Bobby. All right, Ricky, love your snakes. All right, let's see. This is triple Kelly. Triple Kelly. Hi, Chris. Picking up a female bamboo. Nice. Was wondering what single gene male you would put with her. Best bang for your buck. Also, best future projects. Yeah, so best bang for your buck with the bamboo. I would probably get another bamboo, go for the super bamboos. Super bamboos, I would think would sell for quite a bit. It's an all white snake with blue eyes. Best bang for your buck. Get something that's really high end, like if you went with like a confusion bamboo. That would be kind of wild. I don't think I've ever seen a confusion bamboo, but you could probably do pretty good with that one. All right, let's see. Coalwood. There's a spot nose cinnamon enchy leopard and a fire cinnamon all triple het pied clown albino on Morphmarket. Wow. Huh. That's interesting. Wow. Yeah, so let's see. Spot nose cinnamon enchy leopard. Wow, that's that's a lot of genes in with a triple het. The problem with fire is if you end up with a fire pied, it's actually well, I think that would work too. That pied clown albino. Wow. All right, I'll definitely have to look into that. Not really looking into adding too many genes into a project like that. Trying to actually, what I want to do is I want to produce just the pure triple visual, and then I want to take that and breed it to another recessive and go for the quad without getting too many genes in there. Because if you actually hit the triple visual and then like a quadruple visual and then you had like 5 other genes on top of it, you might not know exactly what you have if you have too many genes. All right, Derek Clark, what would you suggest? A toffee or a pastel clown? 66% head VPI, both the same size, same price. Can't make up my mind. So a toffee or a pastel clown. So toffee is actually similar to albino, so you can actually make toffinos with the toffee. Pastel clown. Good question. So normally if it's actually 66% het anything, you have to assume that it's not het. You don't really want to pay for the het if it's like 66% het, unless it's 100%. So you're kind of taking a chance on the het VPI axanthic. But yeah, toffee or pastel clown, that's, a lot of people are into the clowns. but I would probably go with the toffee, something a little bit different, not as common. Or you could buy both. That's what clowns are pretty cool too. What's your opinion on DIY racks? Good way to save money, good way to jump into it cheap. And keep in mind, if you get DIY racks, you can always, at some point, once you start selling your hatchlings, you can use your hatchling money to invest in nicer racks. And that's kind of what I did here in my collection. You know, when I first started out, I actually just kind of didn't have very many racks until I had a lot of hatchlings. And then I took a lot of the money from the hatchlings and reinvested it back into the racks. So I have a lot of money in racks, but most of that money I made from my first year in hatchlings. So, you know, it wasn't really like out of the pocket coming up with all the money for all my racks. Ashley Dobbs, I'm up to 4 ball pythons. Nice. Dash Sean Mitchell, what's up? I live in Virginia Beach. Nice. I have 1 pastel. Do I need an overhead lamp? I really don't like overhead lamps. As long as your ambient temperature is high enough, I don't think you have to have an overhead lamp. Little Papa 196, what's up? I think you skipped my question. Does your spider ball pythons, the females, desert tubs smell different? No different smell on that one. How old should a ball python female be before mating? I'd say pretty much the minimum age of a female should be 2 years. I'd say most people would say at least 3 years on your female and at least 1,500 grams on your females. Although I have bred a female, the youngest and smallest one I've ever bred was 2 years old at 1,400 grams, and she did lay a whole clutch of 6 eggs, which is pretty nice. All right, Deshaun from New York, nice. Thoughts on flippers? Flippers. There's a guy who knows flipping snakes. Yeah, so it's kind of weird when you talk about flipping snakes, you know, for a profit. Most people really frown on the guy who buys snakes and then just marks them up for profit and then sells the snakes. But keep in mind, pretty much all the pet stores, every single pet store, that's what they do with every single animal. They buy them cheap, they mark them up, and they sell them, and that's their whole business. So, you know, if you look at it kind of that way, there's actually a lot of wholesalers that'll, you know, buy huge collections or a lot, you know, big groups of snakes, and then they'll mark them up and sell them. You know, there's people have been doing it for a long time, but I'd say if you went to a reptile show and talked to any breeder in the reptile show and you said, hey, I'm thinking about flipping snakes for business, everyone would say, you don't want to be a flipper. There's just like this taboo. It's like being a car salesman, you know, it's like kind of like the shady end of the reptile business, just flipping snakes. So it kind of has a weird reputation when you talk about flipping snakes in the reptile industry. So yeah, if you flip snakes, I probably wouldn't tell anyone you're flipping snakes. Personally, I don't like to flip snakes because you can actually run into problems with certain diseases. You know, they can run through your collection, and if you're always flipping snakes, I've actually seen a lot of those people struggle with like a low-level mite infection or something like that, where they can't really completely get rid of it. So I wouldn't flip snakes. Am I working with blitz or trick? No blitz or trick. Hello, Moon over Miami. I finally got your question. Let's see. Let's see. Is there anything you would do different as a breeder if you could start over? That is from Reptiler Ball Pythons. What's up? Haven't seen that name in here. Yeah, when I first started breeding ball pythons, I actually started with a lot of hatchlings with the intent of just sitting on those hatchlings, waiting 3 years for my females to mature. And if I was to do it again, I would have definitely started with some older females that were ready to breed, so you can actually start producing hatchlings right away and make some money to kind of pay for the business right from the start. But now that I've been into it and I'm producing hatchlings every year, nothing really that I would do different. I don't know what Bobby is doing all over my head. All right, Sean, do you have any Madagascar ground boas? No, no boas at all here in my collection. Max Hedron, what's up? I don't know what it is, but every now and again I hear a fart noise. That's weird. Oh, you know what it might be? Is it this noise? Maybe. That's my mouse. Yeah. It could be my mouse on my mouse pad. But no, there's no noise in here. Super quiet. Super quiet. Let's see. All right, Danielle. Hi, Chris. Hi, Bobby. Many greetings from Germany. What's up in Germany? I have 2 ball pythons as pets, a male Mojave yellow belly het pied and a female Mojave pied. I want to try to breed them. Yes, that would be pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, especially if you have pets that you've had for years. Your female's definitely ready. All I have to do is put them together, and you definitely make some. So that if you're actually breeding yellow belly het pied and a female pied, so you would get some pumpkin pies, right? Pumpkin pied is, I think, the yellow belly pied. I think. I get to the point where I haven't. Yeah, the pumpkin pie is the yellow belly pie. I get to the point where I got so much stuff like floating in my head. I'm like, is this right? I haven't talked about this for years. The pumpkin pie is the yellow belly pie. How often should I pair virgins? Yeah, I don't think it matters if it's a virgin or if it's experienced or older. You pretty much pair all your snakes the same, no matter how old they are. Yeah, tried the Morphmarket calculator. Yes, Morphmarket calculator is pretty awesome. Yeah, when you're first starting out, you spend most of your time on Morphmarket looking at all the different snakes for sale, and the Morphmarket calculator, kind of looking at what you can make from all the different combinations. All right, so it is 5 o'clock. We've been going for an hour 28. I will go for just a couple more minutes. Fart noise counter. I don't know what that is. Yeah, there is nothing going on over here at all. Maybe it's my connection, which is weird. I don't know if it's my phone. Let's see. Have you ever had any problems housing different species of snake in the same rack? Well, when it comes to rack systems, I think like these racks are specifically designed for ball pythons. I've tried king snakes in these rack systems, and it seems like for whatever reason, the king snakes don't really like to be in a rack system. As a matter of fact, with like my king snakes and my corn snakes, I really think they prefer to be in like a boa tub with a window on the front, where they have more room in a boa tub where you can actually put a bunch of hides and logs and water dishes, and they can actually look out of the window versus just being completely in a dark tub. So I think it really depends on the species of of the snake for the rack. Zach, what's up? Hope you are well. Thanks for all the amazing content. Sure, yes. Lucas, I own a ball python as a pet. I'm wondering if it's able to keep him in a breeding tub for the rest of his life. Yes, you can keep. I'd say if you have a snake in a rack like this, in most cases, like an ARS 7030 size tub would be perfect for pretty much the lifetime. I just have a few females that are really super big, like 4,000 gram females that actually moved up into like an 80 series tub instead of the 70 series. But I'd say, yeah, it's perfectly fine to keep them in. Well, I breed them right in the 70 series tubs. Looks like I got a super chat. Wow, right at the end. Gray Family Snakes. What's up? Keep being awesome and educating the community. Also, the noise is just from bumping the camera. I don't know. This is like my phone up here on my tripod. So yeah, I don't know. It could be something in my phone too. I probably have a lot of other apps running in the background. Something going on. But I just rebooted my phone, so I shouldn't have any apps open, which is weird. All right, so let's see. I was going to end, but let's see. I'll kind of screen the camera refocusing is tripping me out. Yeah, so I don't know quite how to fix that. I did notice that it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's, yeah, if it was actually a camera, I could like set the focus. But since it's my phone, I don't know. And kind of the only reason I'm using my phone is because I have really slow internet connection here at the house. And I just recently found a few months ago that I have really super fast connection on my phone. I think they actually put a new cell tower up. And I can't quite figure out how to get the connection off my phone over to like my laptop so where I could like plug in a real camera. So it's, yeah, I'm kind of technologically challenged there. All right, so yeah, I missed like tons of questions. How many ball pythons would you recommend someone, a new breeder, before starting a YouTube channel? Yeah, so I would actually start a YouTube channel before you get your first snake. I kind of wish I would have, and then I could have documented my whole journey through the whole thing. And by the time I started making YouTube videos, I already had like, I think like 20 some snakes or something like that. So, let's see. I got another question. You skipped right over my question. What should I breed with my female normal to get a great clutch? Good question. That I can also breed to a firefly het clown later. Yeah, so for normal, I would actually, what I would do, well, if you have a firefly het clown, I would probably go with something either clown or het clown if you're going that way. So what I would actually do, I would probably get a visual clown if you want to breed it to a het clown later. I've actually kind of started that way where I got a het clown. I was breeding it to normals and everything is 50% het, which gets a little bit confusing. And a lot of times, for het, sometimes you can increase the price a little bit, but for a 50% het, usually you can't really increase your price on your hatchling. So if you got a visual clown to breed to that normal, and then, well, yeah, so the other problem is you really want something with a lot of genes. So I would get something with like maybe 4 or 5 or maybe 6 co-dominant genes. But the problem is if you got all those genes in with a clown, that snake is going to be really super expensive. A clown with multiple genes on top of it. So I don't know. You probably could do like a 4-gene het clown is probably what I would go for if you want to breed it back to another het clown. Or you could do something that's not het clown. go for something that would go good with like a firefly with something with like pastel, and you can make the super flies, which would be pretty cool. Let's see. One last question. What are your thoughts on doing breeding projects with other people? I would think it could get really confusing trying to keep track of everything, especially if you're doing like, if you're really seriously getting into breeding and then you get to the point where you like run out of money and neither one of you has the money to support the business. That's kind of the hard thing, kind of the in between, especially when you're first starting up. It's like, who's going to buy the rodents and the bedding and, you know, the racks and all this stuff, and making all the decisions as far as what you're going to keep and what you're going to sell. I would think it could work, but there's a lot of logistics as far as trying to work everything out. What I would actually do probably is, I've actually seen some people they'll actually like buy a male, breed it through their collection, and then after they're done breeding it, they'll sell it and then buy something else. Of course, you're always risking bringing something in your collection if you do it that way too. The other thing is, if you're breeding with someone else and they keep buying new snakes, you know, and you don't want to risk your collection by bringing in diseases, sometimes that could be, you know, some stressors there. So I've never really done it because, you know, some people want to do frozen thawed, some people want to do live. There's just so many things that people have differences in opinion on when it comes to ball python. So I'd say you could do it, but there's a lot of stuff you really have to iron out going into business with something like that. All right, so I'm going to call it. So it's 5:08. We've been going for an hour 36. Still 71 people on the live, which is pretty crazy for a Tuesday. 69 thumbs up. All right, guys. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the super chats. And I'm just going to close it here, and I'll see you whenever. I just do random lives. Maybe I'll try to do an earlier live for some of the people over in the UK that are just going to bed right now. So like right now it's like 5 p.m. and everyone in the UK is like up late going to bed. I think it's like 11 or 12 there. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. And Bobby says, hasta la vista. Wait, we got one more super chat. Wow. Wait, oh, that's weird. All right, so we already answered that one. All right. See ya.